James Harden by far has been the most polarizing figure in the NBA this season, and he has been very controversial, with people talking about where he ranks in the NBA right now, if he's overrated, if he's underrated, the way he gets his points, if he's the league's MVP leader, and I get all of that. But what I want to talk about in this video is simply the greatness of James Harden this season. Before we go on with the rest of the video, I just want to give a quick shout out to the sponsors of this video, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is an app that gets tickets from all over the web, puts them on one app so you can find the best deals for whatever event you want to go to, whether it be sports or concerts, whatever you want, they got you covered. They've made the whole process very streamlined and easy for the user. All you have to do is search the event you want to go to, and it gives you a color-coded map of the arena you are going to go to, so you can check out what your seat looks like before you even go. And a very nifty feature that I like about SeatGeek is that it shows the ticket fees as you're viewing the arena, which is very helpful when you're budgeting, because those $40 ticket fees, they kind of sneak up on you when you don't even expect them. And sometimes it could make or break your decision on if you want to go to an event or not. And SeatGeek is very transparent with that. And thanks to SeatGeek, you guys can use the code BSOS for $20 off your first purchase. Links will be in the description. And once again, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring this video. As much as people are stuffed with statistics on a daily basis, I don't think enough people realize exactly how historic Harden's season has been and will continue to be. Everyone just wants to talk about Harden in terms of the MVP race, but just a disclaimer, that is not the point of this video. I am not trying to lobby for James Harden as the MVP. Y'all can argue about that in the comment section all you want, but all I want to do is highlight Harden's season personally. Because I don't think people realize that Harden has the second highest single season usage rating in NBA history, second to only Russell Westbrook's 2017 MVP campaign. Now, the phrase that I just said nowadays instantly has a negative connotation to it, usually dealing with stat padding and shot chucking, but the more we look into James Harden's numbers, the less and less this narrative holds true. Because if we actually look at the top 10 highest single season usage rating leaderboard and rank them by true shooting, Harden actually has the second most efficient season of the bunch, only to himself last year, which is crazy in itself. But even if we expand it to the top 100 single season usage ratings of all time, that's a mouthful to say, it still ranks as the 6th highest in terms of true shooting percentage. So what we have in Harden is one of the highest usage rating seasons of all time, but at the same time an efficiency that is very rarely seen at the volume in which Harden is used offensively. Because typically, an extremely high usage rating means that you're in a situation where you're expected to take a lot of tough shots, thus usually resulting in an inefficient season. But what Harden is doing is he's taking a lot of tough shots and making them at a decent, if not a good clip. But the cons of having a ball handler like Harden having such a high usage rating is the turnovers. And Harden this year is on pace to have the second most turnovers in a season. Again, only to himself when he recorded 464 turnovers 2 years ago. And this year he's on pace for 460 turnovers. So there is still a good chance that he actually breaks it. But either way, it is looking like he'll hold the top 2 spots in history to himself. Harden's season is also the second highest points per game average since Michael Jordan's 1989-1990 season, the first being Kobe's 2006 campaign when he averaged 35 points per game. To put into context, in roughly the last 3 decades, only one person has had a higher scoring average than James Harden this season. That is utterly ridiculous. As a side note, you will notice in this video that Harden's season is not the best at anything in particular. Like, there's no sexy historic superlative you can give Harden, but the names that are involved in the statistical achievements that he's acquiring have only been reached by a handful of people, which is what makes it historic. And speaking of exclusive clubs, Harden is on pace to be only the 6th player in NBA history to average 29 points per game in 4 consecutive seasons. Now, I couldn't find a tool that specifically finds the most consecutive seasons doing X on Basketball Reference, so I did have to do manual research for this, and saw that Kareem and Jerry West did have 4-year stretches where they were very close to being included in this club, but nonetheless, this is still a very exclusive club in NBA history, as the names in this club include Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Elgin Baylor, Oscar Robertson, Jerry West, and Adrian Dantley. But B Souls, literally all the stats are showing me are just a result of his usage rating. They're not really all that impressive. Look man, shout out to Dom2K on this because he actually talked about it in one of his recent videos. I believe it was on his second channel. What the heck do you want James Harden to do? The team's second best player in Chris Paul is out and is looking like he's gonna miss a total of 25 to 30 games this season. They lost key pieces to their roster in the offseason in Trevor Ariza and Luka Mbamute as the West got stronger from top to bottom. They added Carmelo Anthony, which made them worse, and they started off the season slow, and then they started to give Harden the ball more, and he has produced wins upon wins upon wins while putting up monster numbers. It'd be another thing if they weren't winning games, but they are. And like I said in the beginning of the video, having a high usage rate has a negative connotation now. But there are times where having a high usage rate is just what's necessary for the team to win games because of the lack of the personnel. And sometimes the best solution is to lower your usage rate so that the shot creators and the playmakers on your team could be put to good use. But in the case of, let's say, Harden and the Rockets this season, or Kobe Bryant and the Lakers in 2006, or Allen Iverson in 2001, having a high usage rating like what they had is just what the team calls for. However, I do want to pose a question for you guys in the comment section because I've heard opinions from both sides of this argument. And that question is Harden overachieving or underachieving this year? Now hear me out. This might, again, like that video I did three videos ago about who's a better shooter. At face value, this may sound like a dumb question. But there is an argument to be made that Harden is underachieving in this sense. Many people, despite the lack of moves that they made in the offseason, still had the Rockets winning 55 plus games and being the clear-cut number 2 team in the West. And Harden was expected to lead them to that. And Harden in that sense is underachieving because most people don't consider the Rockets the second best team in the West, and they're not on pace to win 55 plus games. But then again, there's also the other side of the argument that he's overachieving in the sense that once we saw how the landscape of the West played out, once we saw the impact that losing those defenders had, once we saw CP3 go down for a big chunk of the season, this team definitely should not be winning as much as they are right now. And James Harden has been the catalyst to most, if not all, of their wins. So let me know in the comment section down below, is James Harden overachieving or underachieving? Now mind you, if you are watching this video in the later months of the NBA season, this video was made in early January, so there is still a chance that Harden doesn't maintain the historic numbers that I talked about in this video. But what the last 4 years have told me, at least in the regular season, is that Harden is a great enough player to maintain the numbers that he has as of the making of this video. And shout out to Harden because I do believe he gets a little too much hate. But to be honest, I see why. I see the viewpoint. It's just that he's such a mastermind at reading the defender and making them do whatever he wants. And more often than not, it just results to him being at the free throw line. And at this point, you know, he's been doing this for so long that it's an art form. It's not the ref's fault. It's just skill. I think the problem is with Harden is that when it comes to the playoffs and the refs are more lenient with physicality, Harden has a tougher sense of knowing what isn't a foul, which leads to those terrible elimination games where he shoots horrific from the field, and most of the time it does result in a loss. But all I know is appreciate the regular season Harden is having because he is definitely must-watch basketball right now, and it would be a shame for you to waste it just because you want to push some sort of narrative. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel. This year I'm committed to a strict upload schedule of every Tuesday and Thursday or Friday at 5 p.m. Eastern. To simplify it even more, pretty much a video every Tuesday and another video near the end of the week at 5 p.m. Follow me on Instagram at bsouls because I'm trying to do some special things on my Instagram this year with IG Live and some other stuff I'm thinking about, so follow me on there so you don't miss that. And once again, shout out to James Harden because I don't think people realize how much of a historic season he's really having this year. But with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'm out. Peace.